Derek had gone to bed the night before with his usual sense of superiority. At 20, he was convinced he'd cracked the code of life. His laptop was cluttered with half-read threads about alpha males and red-pilled truths. He liked to think of himself as someone who saw the world as it really was: simple, logical, manly. Women, in his mind, were an endless checklist of flaws wrapped in lip gloss and crop tops. That it was all the more horrifying when Derek opened his eyes the next morning and saw himself. Only, not himself, not Derek. For one, there was hair in his face, long, silky, brunette strands that brushed against his cheeks when he sat up. His chest felt heavy, like 2 water balloons had been duct taped to it. And his voice, when he cursed, came out as a shrill squeak. No way. No way. No freaking way, he muttered, except it sounded more like, no way, because his new voice cracked like a nervous teenager. He stumbled out of bed and into the bathroom, nearly tripping on his own legs. Except they weren't his legs anymore. They were slim, smooth, and attached to hips that swayed when he walked, as if the universe had set his balance to flirty mode. The mirror confirmed the nightmare. Staring back at him was a girl. Not just any girl, but the type of girl Derek had mocked 1,000 times online. Big doe eyes, plump lips, soft jawline, and a body that looked like it had been designed by a plastic surgeon with a Pinterest board labeled Instagram Bimbo Goals. Oh, hell no. His hands flew to his face, then down to his chest.
He actually squealed when his new body reacted with a bounce.
The squeal echoed in the tiled bathroom like a cruel punchline. This had to be a dream. Or some punishment. Maybe he'd overdosed on energy drinks and TikTok rants the night before, and his brain had snapped. But the pinch he gave his thigh, the cold tiles under his bare feet, and the way his new hair tickled his shoulders, all of it was too real. He tried to think logically. He was Derek. Derek, the red-pilled king. Derek, the debunker of female nonsense. Derek, who would never. Holy crap, I'm hot. The thought slipped out before he could stop it. He leaned closer to the mirror, tilting his head. The reflection winked back, lips parting slightly, like she was practicing being cute. Which, horrifyingly, she was. No, stop it. I'm not cute. He caught his reflection pouting. Oh my God! This is a nightmare! But the nightmare didn't end. Close. That was the next hurdle. His boxers had practically fallen off his new hips, so he raided the closet for something to wear. Except none of his jeans fit anymore. They slid down his curves like oil on glass. His oversized hoodie swallowed him whole, making him look like a girl who de-borrowed her boyfriend's clothes after a Netflix binge. Against his better judgment, he tried on one of his sister's dresses that had been left behind during a visit. It clung to his new figure like cling wrap, and he stood in front of the mirror, mortified. Okay, he muttered, tugging at the hem. This is temporary. Totally temporary. I'll fix this. I'll find a doctor. Or a wizard. Or both. The problem was, he had to leave the house. His stomach growled, reminding him that food was necessary. He pulled on the hoodie again, paired it with the one pair of sweatpants that didn't fall down, and shuffled to the corner store. The moment he stepped outside, the world shifted. Men looked at him. Not just glanced, but actually looked. Their eyes lingered, some with curiosity, others with open hunger. One even whistled, and Derek froze like a deer in headlights. He wanted to yell, "I'm a dude! I'm Derek!" for crying out loud. But instead, what came out
Was a nervous giggle.
He clamped his hands over his mouth. What the hell was happening to him?
At the store, the cashier gave him a grin that dripped with sleaze.
Derek had seen that grin before. He'd worn that grin before. Now, on the receiving end, it felt like a cold bucket of slime had been poured over him. Just chips, Derek stammered, trying to sound tough. But his voice betrayed him again, lilting like he was asking for extra sprinkles at a cupcake shop. On the walk home, Derek realized something terrifying. It wasn't just his body that had changed. His mannerisms were different. The way his hips moved, the way his voice pitched, the way his hands fluttered when he spoke, all of it screamed feminine. Back home, he collapsed on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Okay. Think. This has to be reversible. There's gotta be a reason. Maybe it's like a curse. Or a prank. Yeah, maybe some guy slipped me what? Gender juice? But no answer came. Just the rhythmic sound of his own breathing, soft and shallow in a body that wasn't his. Days passed, and Derek tried everything. Cold showers, meditation, Googling sudden spontaneous gender swap, help. Nothing worked. His new reality stuck, and worse, he started slipping. It began with makeup. He found some of his sister's old palettes and, out of sheer boredom, tried them on. The face in the mirror transformed from random girl to Instagram-ready goddess in minutes. It was terrifyingly easy. Then came the clothes. He told himself it was just practical women's clothes fit now, unlike his baggy old stuff, but deep down, he knew he liked the way skirts swished when he walked, or how a tank top made him look effortlessly confident. The final straw came one afternoon when he caught himself taking selfies. Posing, smiling, tilting his head just so. He stared at the photo afterward, horrified. Who even is that? He whispered. The answer came like a jolt of lightning. It was him.
Or her. Or whatever he was now.
One night, as he scrolled through his phone, he found himself on the very forums where he used to rant. He almost typed out a confession. Help! I turned into a girl, but stopped. They'd laugh him out of existence. Instead, he just stared at his reflection in the dark screen. A brunette Bimbo. Lips slightly parted. Eyes wide and uncertain. Not Derek, the red-pilled genius. Not Derek, the self-proclaimed alpha. Just, someone new. The strangest part, he didn't entirely hate it. It was humiliating. Yes. Terrifying. Yes. But also freeing in ways he didn't want to admit. For the first time, he didn't feel like he had to perform some rigid version of masculinity. He could just be. And that realization was the biggest red pill of all. Because Derek, self-proclaimed prophet of manhood, had woken up one day and discovered he wasn't a man at all. He was a brunette bimbo, stumbling, swearing, laughing, and maybe just maybe learning what it meant to live without the armor he'd built around himself. When his phone buzzed with a text from his buddy, Yo, you ghosting us! You alive!
Derek stared at it for a long time. Then he smirked, flipped his hair, and typed back with manicured fingers. Yeah, I'm alive.
More than ever.